Happy Wednesday, everybody.
God, is that going to be your tagline?
It
Kathy?
is.
Yeah.
Happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday. Well, you know what I forgot last week was, one day last week was National Sons Day, and I never talked about my prince, my wonderful son Boomer, my precious.
I thought the card was lost in the mail.
Yeah, and all the money that was supposed to be in the card. Yeah.
So it's on its way.
It's absolutely on its way. I think your
Damn
dad.
that post office.
I think your dad sent it. He's so good at that
that's-
stuff.
yeah.
It's in the mail.
I thought you forgot about
Yes.
me. So.
And I'm sure you forgot that today is International Women's Day. Did you forget that? Because
I
I don't
did
have
not.
any gifts here.
With the women in my life, I'm surprised I didn't know that.
I'm surprised you
my
didn't either.
apologies to all the women out there.
Yes, we have a lot of strong women in our lives. We have.
Strong doesn't describe it.
I know. Little twitchy might be a better word.
I didn't say it, you did.
You didn't, right?
So.
Yeah. Awesome. So I have my Bulldog Blue on today because I have a busy day and I'm not going to be able to change my clothes before we go hopefully cheer the Bulldogs on to a big victory tonight in their first district game for the boys varsity. So good luck to Coach Swinehart and all the boys. And I did want to just give a shout out to your beautiful wife, Lori, Coach Lori Hoppo, who had a great season, girls varsity basketball. I was thinking about the girls this morning and how far they've progressed.
Yeah.
What a great job Lori's done. How much I'm going to miss watching the seniors. Raj, Mel, who else? Riley. Great group of young women, strong young women. I can't wait to see what they do with their lives. They've really been a pleasure to watch all these years.
They're great teammates. They're very coachable. They went to work every day for her. So great leaders. So
some of those girls weren't that big, but boy, did they play big.
A
lot of games.
I told London and her parents, and I did an award thing probably a month or so ago, and I said she might not be 5'10", but she plays.
That girl played big. Yeah,
she plays 7'4" out there. So she was.
Yeah,
she was a pit bull. So.
Yeah. It was fun watching those girls. So. It's been a busy week. You too.
Very.
Yeah, that's good. It's all good. So we do have a question from one of our friends. So keep those questions coming too, because we do love these. So today we're going to talk about investment properties, and this is from our friend Austin, and this is what he asked. People that already have a mortgage with good debt to income ratio, what would the process be for them to start buying rental properties? Would it be a regular conventional loan, or are there other options for people looking into this type of purchase? You don't have to respond directly to me. We are Austin, right to you, buddy. I'm sure a lot of other people are curious too. A lot of the wealthier people I do business with all seem to have some type of rental property, or they flip houses. So let's talk about the options there.
Yeah, so great question. Investment property and in general, real estate property. We've talked about it before. It's a systematic way to build equity over time. If you've got a monthly payment, you're setting aside essentially equity. You're paying down the principal. You're setting aside on a recurring basis, month after month after month. You're building equity.
And wealth.
And wealth, that is the concern, is having a home. When you start to expand on that into investment properties, your returns are going to go up. Your portfolio grows. It becomes infectious.
Yes.
That's what I found. Seeing it firsthand. You typically don't stop after just one.
No,
There's
it's hard to stop.
A lot of benefits that we can get into later on, but the process is, I think, knowing what you're good at, knowing your area. We've owned some properties way outside of our kind of geographical territory, and
it's a pain.
It's a pain in the butt.
Yeah.
It was worth it, but it put stress on my young family at the time.
Yes.
You didn't see Hot Todd for hours and hours of the weekend.
I was so sad all the time.
But no, I think knowing your market, knowing what you can get, knowing the local market, what you're going to fetch from a rent standpoint versus what your payments are going to be. You got to factor in insurance, taxes at non-homestead rates, which are higher than what you're going to pay on your primary, right?
Yep.
So you've got to factor those things in. Not to mention Murphy's Law always comes into play.
Right.
There's going to be things that break down. Furnace, roof, siding, whatever it may be, you're going to have expenses.
Yeah.
You got working with someone that's got experience in that, a good CPA, a good agent, a good lender. Those are great places to start. Okay. From a program standpoint, your options are much more limited. FHA, VA, USDA, they're not huge on investment.
Right.
Okay. If you went FHA or VA, you would have to live in one of the units.
That's what I was going to say. Owner-occupied.
Everybody that wants to do investment wants to live with their tenants.
Right.
So FHA, you can have up to 4 families, but you have to fit 4 units, but you have to live in one of them.
Right.
VA, you can do 2-unit duplexes, but you have to live in one. USDA, you can't do that. It's a primary 1 single unit. Okay.
Yeah.
Then there's conventional, and then there's portfolio, which is where the bank actually keeps that paper on our books. Independent bank, we have portfolio lending for things that make sense from a financial standpoint, but they might not fit in the conventional conforming guidelines.
Where you could go out and sell that mortgage to FHA,
Correct.
VA, whatever.
It's not like a catch-all where like we're doing really wacky stuff.
Right.
You have to show a lot of liquidity, great credit, big down payment, okay? And that's probably the biggest thing you need to know with investment versus your primary home. You're going to be expected to bring in more down payment. You can't limp in with 3.5% down, okay? You've got to come in sometimes 20 to 30% down. They want your skin in the game, so to speak, okay?
Yeah. So if I had that 20 to 30% down, when I talk about stay in your wheelhouse, what I'm talking about is don't call me and say, okay, I want to get into investment properties. I think I want to buy a hotel, right?
Yeah.
You want to, let's talk about a single family or a duplex,
Yep.
something that's going to be easy for you to manage, get your feet wet, see if you even like being that person, the landlord. I mean, that's a whole different role.
Tenants and toilets.
Tenants and toilets, light bulbs, can't make my payment. So when, the tenant doesn't make their payment, you still better make yours,
Still
right?
gotta pay yours. Yep.
Yep. So, you have to be tough. You have to lay down the law to those tenants that, what you expect out of them.
Yep.
And, but yeah, just kind of get your feet wet with the first one.
Absolutely. I think it'll become infectious if that's your thing. If you really put yourself out there, get involved, I think it can be infectious, but it's not for everybody. I know some people that got into one and they're like, hey, I don't want to be called at midnight. Sorry, I got my own day job. I don't need to be going to fix a leaky toilet.
Yeah, because that's the time of day you get those calls.
So it's not for everybody, but there's more people that I know that expand after the first, that sell and say, you know what, we're good just being homeowners.
Yeah. So you own investment property, we own investment property, we own some together.
Yep.
We have really been blessed with great tenants.
Yep.
But that goes on the front end with your screening, making sure they have a good job. I'll tell you what I do. I have people come here all the time that want to rent someplace. I will kind of go look at their car, and if it looks like they're living in their car and it's a disaster, that's how they're going to keep my house, right?
Yeah.
And that's my house. And you want a tenant that's going to have pride of ownership too.
Absolutely.
So if you're a tenant, those are things you need to think about too when you're trying to ask somebody, hey, I want to come rent your house. How are you going to keep my house, right?
Yep.
So, so back to Austin's question. So 20 to 30% down.
I think that's a safe number to assume. Yep. Not all the time, but I think you want to be prepared to have 20 to 30% down. You want to have something happens, or in case the tenant doesn't pay, that monthly bill from the mortgage company is still coming, whether the tenant pays or not. So that's something that you have to be able to.
You have to really be prepared for that.
A family, if you got a spouse, you got to make sure that he or she is on board too.
Yeah, that this month out of our budget, we may be taking $1,500 because Sally Joe or whoever it was didn't pay your rent.
Yep.
Yeah.
So.
But it is a great way to build wealth. Give people a nice place to live. We've always kept our places super nice. Try to improve them every year.
Be a good neighbor.
Be a good neighbor.
That's something that I'm big on.
Oh God, we're not even
We're not gonna
started
go
on
there.
it. We can't go
I got a
there.
planning commission meeting coming up at
Oh, boy.
4:30 today, and
Oh boy,
that's
I
always
wish
on
I
my
could be
mind.
there.
I'm
Yeah.
looking at one right now. That's kind of a sore spot for me. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
anyways,
Yeah.
one of the big things with probably one of the biggest benefits of owning investment real estate is the ability to depreciate the asset. So, case in point, let's say you bought a property for $275,000. Okay, for round number's sake, residential real estate gets depreciated at 27 and a half years. So, 275,000 divided by 27 and a half is $10,000 per year that you as the owner get to write off. So let's say your monthly, rent that you receive is 12 grand or 1,000. So 12 grand over the life of the year.
Yeah.
Okay, for 12 months. You can write off 10,000 of that, and any taxes that you can deduct, any utilities if you're paying it on behalf of the tenant, any repairs, anything like that. So out of the gate, you're already on paper showing a loss.
Right.
Because us as the bankers, we know that you're not physically writing a check to the IRS for $10,000 of depreciation, yet they allow you to write that off.
Yes.
That is, to be honest, probably one of the biggest benefits.
Absolutely.
So if you can offset your income while building wealth,
no brainer.
drop the mic.
So come on, Austin, let's go buy one.
Big game changer though. It's important that you have a good CPA though.
Absolutely.
That's the thing.
Yes.
And from a lending standpoint, the big thing is CPAs and their clients want to write off everything and show no income. If you're trying to get financing, that becomes problematic. It's enough income so you can get the financing if you want to continue this
Buy properties.
Right. Okay. So that's where working with a good lender and a good CPA, that makes a big difference, because you're legally required to report all revenue. You're not legally required by the IRS to write off every expense.
And that's why I try to get people to you right off the bat.
Yep.
Before they do their taxes, so you can work with that CPA and our client to make sure. And we've talked about this. We
Absolutely.
had a few last year where
We've kept deals together.
on the front end, because of that, we were able to do the deals.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's really, really important.
Yep.
So
there's a fine line of writing off too much and
then not having the income to support.
Yep. So as much as we can. So one thing before I forget, I got called out for not knowing a quote last week.
Okay.
I tried quoting Lombardi, so I wrote it down this time.
Okay.
It was about obstacles and
Who
goals.
called you out?
Gail.
Gail. I think it was Gail. Yeah.
But the quote is, obstacles are what you see when you take your eyes off the goal. I think it's pretty
I like that.
good. So Vince Lombardi. So
I think you might be a little goal oriented, maybe.
no
No goals for you, huh?
No.
Me neither.
No ambition, no goals.
Yeah.
No
you're
tracking.
a slug. No. Awesome. Any real estate needs, call me, Cathy Hoppo, 616-915-2890.
And Boomer Hoppo, Independent Bank, 616-902-0796.
And thanks to our beautiful camera girl today, Coley, came and filled in for Gail, who is on her last vacation ever, because as of today, there are no more vacations here. So enjoy, Gail. Everybody have a great week. See ya.
Thanks.